It's time to pop the top off with Pub Talk. Today, college football is done and dusted. We have to wait till September to come back around. It is conference championship weekend for the NFL. The divisional round is done and dusted. Some huge upsets, hops of the week, and also Houston Astros scandal to talk about. We have that coming up next. But before we begin, Pub Talk is brought to you by Route 11 Chips. Playoff football is here, and the Super Bowl is around the corner. You're going to need some chips for that big party on February 2nd, and Route 11 has got you covered. Since 1992, Route 11 has been chipping away to give its consumers a great and tasty product. So make sure you check out your local Martin's, Food Lion, and Giant to pick up a bag today. All right, lights, beer, action. Back to the pub. College football is done and dusted. Yep. Now we have to wait till September. We'll hear plenty of news over the offseason, though, about the draft coming up, of course, seniors leaving, who's staying.
Go Tigers. Go Tigers.
Yep. I'm so happy to hear him. When I saw him on the podium last night, it filled me with joy to see Coach O up there after the ride that he has had. We'll save that for later, though.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah,
you're good. You're right.
Go
you're
Tigers,
right. You're right.
But the Tigers did win the football playoff.
Yeah, you're not wrong there.
Yeah, the Tigers did. We have one All-Star on the table.
Yeah, Mommy Bay
Coach. Brewing
Company out there in Toledo, Ohio. Again, I'm having this Glasshopper. It's called Glasshopper IPA. Pretty good beer. Like I said, I'm not a freaking IPA guy, but I'm coming around. This is Mommy Bay is like I said, is brewing company is in Toledo, Ohio, brewed and bottled. Pretty good
There's
drink.
a lot of talk about Ohio today.
Yeah. It's got some kick to it, 7%, but not bad. I like it.
Yeah, I'm still on the diet, so no beer and carbs right there for me.
That's
so,
good.
Let's get into it. Before we start on the football, the Houston Astros. This hit last night, right before the college football national championship. This happened right before it. That news came out that the Astros fired their general manager and their manager.
Right.
Which is essentially the coach of the team in the dugout for the Houston Astros. He fired both of the guys.
Yep.
Alex
Said he
Hinch.
wanted a AJ.
Alex Hinch is gone now, and
AJ Hinch. Yeah.
AJ Hinch. I'm sorry. I could have sworn it was Alex.
Well, maybe it's Alex.
Whatever.
Alex James.
It doesn't matter. He's a fucking piece of shit anyway. Because of everything that has come out about this. The allegations that came out about the Astros cheating were supposed to be a joke. They were supposed to be a joke before because this has been an investigation.
Hinch, not Alex. Alex Cora is from Boston Red Sox.
Still a piece of shit, though. I don't care. The allegations that came out before were conceived to be a joke about, really, the Astros are beating on a trash can and, come on now, that's supposed to be taken seriously. Well, now that the evidence has really come out, and this isn't like your NFL, deflating balls, Deflategate scandal, and the whole filming practices.
Which there was no proof,
and there's no evidence, zero proof, zero evidence, and so
Tom Brady's a cheater.
Exactly, but Roger Goodell wanted to lay down the hammer and say, "I'm the commissioner, so I say what goes." But that's a topic for another day. But this evidence here against the Astros is clear and beyond a reasonable doubt. It is without a reasonable doubt here that the Houston Astros have been convicted of cheating in the 2017 season.
Convicted?
Sorry. I mean, they're not going for murder charges or anything, but they have been,
I totally
they
get
have
what
been
you're saying. I get it.
found out that they were cheating in the 2017-2018 season on their way to a World Series. And the Houston Astros, if you don't follow baseball that much, won the World Series that year. And now that evidence has come out, here's the allegations. There was a center field camera in the middle of the Astros field that they had a camera come out.
Most MLB teams have that center field shot because
that is true because you got to watch film sometimes.
Well, the broadcast is shown from there. I mean, you know.
And then, but here's where it differs from every other team. There is a TV or a monitor in the dugout that shows the center field.
Yeah, they had
view.
one installed.
They had a monitor installed in the dugout so that the manager or the coaches or whoever the hell saw it.
Well, I will say this before you get too much further. There is no link to the coach sponsoring this or creating this. This came from Alex Cora, who was the bench coach at the time. Now, I'm not saying that he didn't know, but there is no evidence linking that he sponsored all of this, that he sponsored it.
Fine. There may not, Coach, I get what you're saying. There may not be evidence.
Yeah.
But for the love of God, did he walk up and down the dugout for 162 games and just go, I wonder what that's for? Every single time he walked by it?
I know.
And into the playoffs,
I know,
too?
but the words
It's like,
that
why
were
is
used,
why is my player beating on a trash can
the
every
commissioner,
single
Rob
time?
Manfred, said very specifically was a player-driven activity. It was player-driven. The players did this.
Well, then you fucked up by not keeping an eye on your players.
And I think in a roundabout way that was his. Like, my job is to manage these guys. My job is to be on top of this, and I did.
Manager.
And I didn't do my due diligence. I didn't do this. I could have stopped it. And that's the same thing goes for the GM. The GM isn't sitting in the dugout, but he had to be aware that this stuff was going on. Stephen A. Smith just came out today and said that they should vacate that World Series championship from 2017, which is when all this shit started. So, you know, I don't know. Hey, how much more can you punish the team? They lost the first and second round draft choice for this coming up season and 2021. Their manager, before all of this broke with Hinch and I think it's, what is it? I don't know if it's Lunau or Lunau.
I think it's Lunau.
It's Lunau or whatever, the GM.
Yes.
Those guys were originally just suspended for the 2020 season by Rob Manfred.
And they got fired 2 hours later.
The owner, Crane, I didn't look up his first name.
It doesn't matter
Crane,
right now.
but what's his name? But anyway, he's the one, Jim Crane, he's the one that decided that I want to start with a clean slate and the GM and the manager are the first guys to go. The thing that gets me the most is that if it was a player-driven or a player-motivated scandal, why the hell were the freaking players punished? None of them. None of the players are punished for this.
You know, I had a conversation with my boss today, and he said the same thing about, like, well, the players are on different teams, and then he said, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if they are on different teams. There is a roster available.
You conspired to cheat in this game. It's bad enough that they actually ended up winning a World Series. Now, here's another component of this, is at the end of this, when it was all done, it just simply evaporated. It just simply went away because the players didn't find a benefit in doing it. So at some point they
didn't
just
find
said,
a benefit.
Yeah,
this ring's not too big enough for me.
Well, maybe that. Yeah, but eventually they just dropped it. It just, to them, it was ineffective. At least that's the wording that I have read about.
To them, it was ineffective.
It wasn't effective down. Continue. It wasn't effective process down the road.
Yeah,
it just
no
wasn't.
shit, because you're getting into the playoffs, and guess what? You are facing the best teams in the MLB.
Yeah.
And no matter what happens, you go back and look at those scores of some of the games that they did play against, like the teams in the AL, against the Yankees. When they're on the road, they're winning tight games, like 2-1, 2-1. When they're at home, 6-0, 8-0, 8-1. That shit, that sticks with you, and you go, how is this happening? That evidence makes sense
I
there.
saw
that
I saw
evidence makes sense.
I spent, I don't know, an hour or so, and I went back and I looked at a bunch of videos listening to the conspiracy and the whole how it was set up, and they showed you what was going on. Well, they didn't show you exactly what was going on, but they were explaining what was going on, and they were showing and listening. You could hear the banging of the trash can and so on and so forth, and you could see the techniques that were being employed at the time.
You ever think like one game they forgot to bring the can in there and they had a fit saying like,
right.
"Where's our damn
Who
can?
forgot the trash can?
Who forgot the can?
You had one job, buddy, and it was the fucking trash can, and you left it at home, you jackass." Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The big thing that I'm waiting to see is what are they going to do with Alex Cora, who's the head coach of the Boston Red Sox, the manager of the Red Sox, because he's at like the apex of this whole thing. Like it started with him because he was the bench coach for the Astros during this time period, and then becomes the freaking the manager of the Red Sox. I'm waiting to see what happens to him. If AJ Hinch and the GM of the Astros were suspended for a season, what do you think they're going to do to him? What do you think they're going to do to him? You think he's going to get a suspension for a season or multiple seasons? I'm predicting that something significant is going to happen to Alex Cora, and it's going to irreparably change his.
I understand that there's a lot of memes out there about Pete Rose about like he gets banned for life, and what do these guys get, a 1-year suspension? It's like,
right.
What they cheated their way to a fucking championship.
Yeah.
They cheated their way to a championship. And people will say, like, well, so the Patriots. It's like, fuck off. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. There is no evidence to support that they cheated their way to a championship. None whatsoever. How about you tackle LeGarrette Blount and not make him run for 150 yards?
Yeah.
Deflated balls. Get out of here, man.
That's a joke. That's not even funny. And to all those Patriot haters out there, you can kiss my ass. Nobody cares. Do you think this sets baseball back? Do you think people are going to sit back and go, "Hey, I'm not going to watch baseball because these cheating bastards"? But because my whole thing
game as it is,
because of my whole thing is not unlike football and stuff like that. Teams are always looking for an edge.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
always
teams
looking
are
for an
always.
edge.
I'm not saying that teams are perfect.
To say that the Astros led at the time with Alex Cora stealing these signs, that these guys were doing something that was so new and so advanced. Okay, yeah, put a monitor up, use some telecommunications, and say, okay, it's the curve, or it's the changeup, it's the changeup. Bang 3 times, bang, bang, bang. And then, well, at the end of the day, the guy that's sitting at the plate, he still has to hit the damn ball. He still has to put the bat on the ball. And
but
stuff
when you're
like
one of the best players to play in the major leagues,
you're talking about professional hitters, and if you give them an
these
edge,
guys,
that's
what they're there for,
right? So. But it's not like the Houston Astros are the only team doing this. I can't help but think that every baseball team, every team that's baseball, that are always looking for that edge. It happens.
It happens on all levels in all sports too.
I think you're right. I think you try to find an edge if you can find something. I've seen it in high school football. I've seen the preparation and what you can get from somebody. You're always looking. Oh, we know what that sign looks like. We've seen that coach do that before. We've scouted them. Hey, when he holds his hands up and he does this with his hands, it's this. It's this. You're trying to find an edge. You're trying to find something that gives your players an opportunity to succeed. They got caught. And they got caught in an ugly way, and this blew up on the Houston Astros. But if you're not going to suspend these players, you're not going to punish these players in any way, guess what? They're still playing next season. They still got good players. Now, don't get me wrong. AJ Hinch is a fine manager. He's a great tactician. He's great. Does that mean that because he's not on the bench and he's not managing these guys that the Astros are going to take a dump? No. They have too much talent. There's another coach that can harness the power of these guys that are playing for the Astros, and they're going to continue to be good. That's just the way things are going to be.
Well, let's wait to see what else unravels in the coming weeks.
The next thing up is Alex Cora, and I'm betting. I'm going to write it down now. Major suspension. I'm thinking at least one complete season. I'm writing that down. One complete season. He is going to be suspended. And who knows what the Boston management is going to do? Are they going to follow what Jim Crane of the Astros has done and just say, Alex, you're done? Or is he going to go, hey, I'm not missing out on my manager. This guy helped to win us a world championship too. So, because he took this cheating scandal to Boston. He took this
I know.
method to Boston.
Who knows if the Red Sox cheated their way to a World Series?
Yeah.
Who knows if it continued?
Don't you dare blaspheme Big Papi, because that son of a bitch did. He was a Yankee killer.
He didn't
I
play
know,
for
I'm just-
them though.
I'm just saying.
He didn't play for them though. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's enough about baseball.
Oh, that's coming up though. That's
I know it is. I know it is, but like this is the last game of college football here to talk about until September.
Yep.
The college football playoff national championship just happened last night.
It did?
And I trust me, it did. And yet, for some reason, the first half took 2.5 hours.
Oh my
because
God! Did it last forever? I think it was 10 o'clock, 10:05, before the first half ended.
Why is it on a Monday? Why is it on a Monday? Every college football game of the season is on a Saturday or a Friday. Why is it on a Monday? Why is it on a fucking Monday? Even the Super Bowl,
I don't know. I didn't schedule it.
The most watched event every single year, the Super Bowl.
I know, and
is on a Sunday.
And a game that lasts 4 hours, and you lose, unless it's a really, really, really special game, you lose touch with the game. You don't want to be a part of it. You don't want to watch it. You get bored. You get up, you go do other things. You go find that other sandwich to eat or whatever. You know what I mean? Or you go find another drink, or you start a conversation, or you get on your phone. It's just ridiculous. You should.
Are you going to sit down or
No,
what?
I'm going to have another beer.
Oh, okay. But forget all that about the rage about which day the game should be on. But the LSU Tigers have won the national championship. They complete the second ever 15-0 season after Clemson did it last year, finishing 15-0, which is fantastic. LSU deserves to. I may have been the only person on this podcast to choose Clemson.
You
but
were.
But I was deservedly right to choose them because what is wrong with me choosing a team who hasn't lost in 2 years?
Hey, I fought a good fight the entire season. Don't tell me that I wasn't in Clemson's corner.
But I'm saying
after a certain period of time, I had to go with LSU.
I went with them because I didn't want to give up on Clemson. Okay, I think Trevor Lawrence next year is going to be the number 1 overall pick. It's done and dusted. It is. But I picked Clemson because he is that good and because they are still undefeated. And until they lose, you have to prove me otherwise, and they haven't done it.
But I fought that good fight all year.
Forget that. LSU, after what they did last night and what everybody in all season long, I love LSU. Purple and gold bleeds through me, not because of the Tigers, because of my Dukes, but purple and gold bleeds through me. But seeing Coach O, I really
he makes you want to like them.
He is such a special person, and he's such a special coach to the LSU community and just into the country in general. He was on Scott Van Pelt last night, and Scott Van Pelt asked him, Coach, what are you going to do? You going to go celebrate? You going to go party? You going to go spend time with your family? And he was like, well, I'll probably go make myself a ham sandwich. When I heard him say he was going to go make a ham sandwich, I couldn't help but just smile because that's the type of coach he is. He's old school. He doesn't care about the partying. He doesn't care about that. And then he talked about how I don't get much time with my family.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
And so when I'm with my family, we don't go out. We spend time together.
Yeah.
Because next Friday, I'm on the road again. I'm going recruiting. I got to get the new recruits in here for the spring and for the fall semester.
Yep.
Because that's now that they're a top tier program.
There's a dead period right now. But starting next week, he's going to be on the road.
Yeah.
And he's got to start. Hey, Coach O, how are you going to get another national championship? So he's got to retool. He had a ham sandwich, and he had a lot of celebrating. I don't doubt for a second he didn't celebrate. But he strikes me as a guy so genuine and so well liked by his players that he makes me a fan. He makes me want to watch LSU. He makes me want to see what it is that he gets his players to do, to pay the price, so to speak. If you want to stand on top, you must commit. You must do these things in order to stand on top. And I don't know. when I see him talk and I see him get fired up and I see him get ready to get his players ready to play, there's no faking what he does. None whatsoever.
And to see the hardship that he's gone through, he got overshadowed at Ole Miss. He was at Ole Miss. He didn't do good as a coach, and then he went to USC, and he got replaced as he was the interim, and then he got replaced. Then he comes to LSU as a defensive line coach, and then Les Miles leaves. Yeah. And guess what? He's next in line, and he gets the job.
Yeah. I want to fall in line with that, but if you ask that guy, I guarantee you, he's like, well, it just wasn't my turn. It just wasn't my turn. And now that he's here now, he's got a program.
I know. I'm not saying that he's going to make excuses for anything. He's not that type of guy.
Right.
He is definitely not.
Right.
This guy has been coaching.
You can't get to the level that you're
years.
At.
Hell, this guy coached Dwayne The Rock Johnson back in Miami. I'm serious. He was his defensive line coach.
When he broke in,
He won national championships at Miami.
Yeah. Okay, he's been around successful football. He was Pete Carroll at USC. I understand the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, and to see him do such a well-rounded job, completing the second 15-0 record in college football history on the 150th year of college football is pretty amazing. But Coach O, congratulations, and go Tigers. But let's talk about LSU, though, as a whole. My God. The foot is on the gas always with this team. With the amount of times that Clemson had the ball last night, they did not score.
That's in the spirit of the game. You either have your chances or you make your chances.
I know.
And they had their chances
many times in the first half. They were up by 10 points. Shoot, they should have been up by 21 points with the amount of possessions that they had.
Yeah.
And guess what? Yeah. They didn't. And guess what happened?
I think that's a testament to Brent Venables and his defense in keeping Joe Burrow and the Tigers a little off balance. LSU Tigers, they were a little off balance. But as well as I do, good offensive coaches find a way to tweak things, and they just roll with the punches. And then all of a sudden
But LSU's defensive coaches were like, hey, this is easy to shut down. We know how to do it. Derek Stingley on the backside, and then you also have great defensive linemen who were able to get pressure on Lawrence. I'm going to say it first. Lawrence did not play well last night. He really did not. Threw an interception. He also lost his first ever game as a player.
Say that. Do you think, though, that because it was a national championship and because he was 15-0 and he hasn't lost? No. Shut up. I'm not done. That when he got to this game, he felt like I really, really got to play my ass off. Rather than play my game, I have to do over and above what I normally do. In order to get this win, I have to perform at an even higher level.
No.
I have to meet higher expectations. You don't think so?
No, because this is a guy who has performed at the highest level every single time he gets
onto the field. I know, but this is
an
epic opponent. This is not.
So was Alabama last year. And they went up. No, but they faced criticism last year going up against Alabama, and Alabama was the favorite to win that game.
I know that. But this guy coming in, or this squad coming in, led by Joe Burrow on offense. They're like mythic proportions, They're doing things to teams. But I'm just saying, do you think it's possible? I mean, he's freaking 19, 20 years old.
I get that. No.
You don't think so?
No, he reminds me of like a Tom Brady. That pressure doesn't faze the kid. It really doesn't. He was down 16-0 to Ohio State.
Yeah,
2 weeks ago. And that's what I'm saying, though. But this loss was good for Trevor Lawrence. I'm telling you right now, Clemson will go once again to the national championship next year because he will be back. And I'm telling you, this Clemson team, I don't get it, man. When they get into the national championship, Dabo Swinney has a good team ready to play every single time they play.
Oh, yeah.
And last night, everyone was like, LSU's going to blow them out. Dude, Clemson was ready and fired up.
Well, they punched him right in the mouth early.
They punched him in the mouth, but like I said,
because that was the key to the game. You knew going into this game, and we talked about this. We can go back over these scores. The professor, he said it was going to be a 49-42 game. That's not a bad guess. That's not a bad guess. You'd think that they would get into a track meet and go back and forth, but ultimately LSU would get the win. The boss, He picks LSU 42-17. That might be one of the closer scores. He's got the 42, 17 Clemson. You went with Clemson. Got to take the King down. The King still lives, hasn't lost,
and the King is dead now. The King
it saves it. And then my score was
at least the Tigers are still back on top though.
My score wasn't quite as high, but I still said that LSU would win, and I picked them by 21, 35-14.
And that's where I want to go to next about like this offense that was on the field for LSU. Like I don't know of a more dominant offense that could score like that.
Yeah, I mean, 2,000-yard receivers.
Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Thaddeus Moss. Like Joe Burrow.
How good is that kid going to be?
Joe Burrow last night, he has some great receivers. But my
dad's Randy Moss.
He literally was putting him on the money all night long.
Made great throws. He made great reads, great throws. And early on, I thought maybe he was a little rattled, but I took a glance back. When I looked at that first half, I thought early on, maybe what Venables was doing from Clemson was taking away a lot of the things that they were successful with throughout their season. Because I guarantee you, at the time that they had the time that they had to defend them, he went back and watched every damn snap that they had and said, we're going to take away this. But eventually, a good team says, if they take this away from us, what are we going to do now? And then he opened up the airways, and it was effective. And he made great throws. Great throws.
And you can't. And that's the thing about this LSU team that, the Clemson team last year still, I think, is. No, I'm going to change my mind. Like, the most dominant team ever in college football, I think, is LSU. Like, look, listen here. They had 7 top 10 wins. 7 top 10 wins against top 10 opponents, LSU. That's fucking insane. You have 7 wins against top 10 opponents. Number 1, Clemson. Number 2, Oklahoma. Number 3, Georgia. Number 4, Alabama. Number 5, Florida. Number 6, Auburn. And number 7, at the time, Texas. Okay, at the time, they were in the top 10. Sure, they didn't end up that way.
What was that? What the fuck was that?
Holy Jesus. But at the time, that's what they were. So 7.
I get it.
7.
I get it.
And
they didn't do it in just random fashion either. They dispatched these teams.
And the teams that they should have beaten, they dispatched them, especially Oklahoma. I don't think that there was any question that LSU was going to win that game, but the way that they dispatched them and said, "Get the fuck off of my field," that was humiliating. That's how they were supposed to win, and they did that. And then last night, Joe Burrow. We'll get to the final point here. He is the best college quarterback of all time. He is.
I don't know about that.
Okay, then who else? No, go ahead. No, I'm serious. Go ahead.
There's a lot of players in the NFL. Roger Staubach was a phenomenal college quarterback. There are a lot of players that could compare with that. He had one great year. And broke a lot of records. One season of records.
And he broke
Dwayne Haskins last year broke Dwayne Haskins' record last year. Who's the one that had it before him?
What are you talking about?
Whose record did he break?
The most passing touchdowns in a season was 58 by Colt Brennan back in 2006.
Yeah, and who's Colt Brennan?
He played for Hawaii.
I know that. I'm just saying, but who is Colt Brennan?
He was the quarterback for Hawaii back in 2004.
And that makes him the best quarterback of all time until this guy?
Coach.
Are you telling me?
I never said that.
You just said he's the best quarterback of all time, best college
Colt
quarterback.
Brennan?
No. You said Joe Burrow is.
Yes, he is.
Okay, so he beat Colt Brennan, and Colt Brennan he played for Hawaii.
It's not beating that dude in his records. This dude passed 60 touchdowns. He has 76 completion percentage, over 6,000 yards. And once again, 7 top 10 teams. Right. And all four of the top 4 preseason teams, this guy beat.
Right.
Alabama, Oklahoma,
I get all that.
Texas,
But he
and
only
Clemson.
did that because he has like 10 guys that are going to play on Sunday
But
on
you
his
don't
team.
just turn it on like that. You don't just become great like that from last year. You don't just all of a sudden
I
just
know that. You don't
black
do
out
that.
and go, I can be great. No.
You don't.
And that's why
I know
he's
you don't do
great.
it without a little bit of help. I'm saying he's a good college quarterback. He ranks up there. But to say he's the best of all time, I don't
You're
know. that
damn
you can
right
say.
he does.
Why?
I just told you why.
That's not a reason.
And none of you haven't told me why. All you said was Roger Staubach.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Because I was still in my daddy's ball sack whenever he was around, okay? So I don't care. Because his game is completely different in an era now where Joe Burrow,
now we're
if he was
comparing
in...
eras now.
You can't... What is wrong with Joe Burrow, though?
I'm
what
not
has
saying
been
there's
wrong?
anything wrong with him.
Then
He had a
what
great
does not
season.
stick out to you
He
about him
played
being the
one
best?
season.
Okay?
He's
It's
gonna.
your point. So did Cam Newton, and he's still up there. So did Jameis Winston. He played 2 seasons.
Hey,
and
don't
one
be
of them
talking
was
about my
good.
30-30 boy like that.
So what's the problem though?
I don't. I just have a problem anointing somebody because he did. He had a prolific season.
What if Trevor Lawrence played just last year?
Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah,
What do you
what
mean,
if Trevor Lawrence just played last year?
What do you mean? What did he just play? He plays quarterback.
No,
What are you
I'm saying, what if he just played last year and then went to the NFL and did what he did last year?
Yeah, but Joe Burrow is not just last year. He's been in college football. He's tried to play until he left
Yeah,
Ohio State
and
because he couldn't beat out any of those guys.
Because Urban Meyer said, son, you ain't that good. You just ain't that good. And look what he fucking did. He did he said, screw you. He said, Scott Frost, I'm glad I didn't go to your school.
Why? He might have won it with them.
Really? With Nebraska?
If he's the greatest of all time?
Coach at Nebraska,
Okay.
the Cornhuskers.
So? You're saying that I'm telling you that LSU has
Sure,
freaking-
then he could have won it at Nebraska. But
I'm
we will never know that because that coach told him to fuck off and said, you are not
I'm not
good
sure
enough.
Scott Frost said that, but I'm just telling you that he's surrounded
Hey,
by
coaches
guys.
say things behind closed doors.
He's surrounded by a cast of characters, many of which are going to play on.
Without Joe Burrow, you do not
How do
get
you know that? How do you know that?
Well, how do you know that?
Exactly. I'm just saying that. How do you anoint somebody?
Because
the best?
I saw Joe Burrow last year, and I saw Joe Burrow be a terrible quarterback with a system that did not fit him right. And so what did they do?
So he benefited from a system.
They benefited from a coach basically changing the playbook to suit him better because guess what it was before? Those were still somewhat less miles as players last year.
Okay, so let's take Tua Tagovailoa from Alabama and put him on Alabama. Or put him on LSU's team. Put him on LSU's team.
Yeah, they win the national championship.
They win the
no
national
question.
championship, and he's the best college football player, college quarterback of all time.
I absolutely agree with that. But until you what's so funny about that?
Because you're just telling you just proved my point.
Because if
Because
Tua
of a
had
s-
those stats, yes.
Because of a system, you just put the next person in and they become the best.
If they put up those stats, hell yeah. Like I said, Colt Brennan. That was 13 years ago. It took 13. We literally, look, like I said, we went through Jameis Winston, Cam
Don't
Newton,
even mention him.
Cam Newton. We went through those types of guys.
Right.
We went through A.J. McCarron, who
But
had
you
a
look
good,
at Cam Newton and his rushing yards compared to Joe Burrow's, and I bet you they're not even comparable.
That's fine, but Joe Burrow clearly showed that he's a runner too last night.
Wow. He's no Cam Newton.
I get that.
From Auburn.
But then also, we had Jalen Hurts. We had Deshaun Watson as well. We also had Joe Burrow now, who has broken every single record for passing-wise for a college quarterback.
All I'm just saying is I don't think it's as easy as saying he's the best college quarterback of all time. I just don't think it's that easy. I don't think it's that easy.
I think it's pretty easy by the stats that have come up from last night.
I know that, but I'm telling you, the only reason he has those stats is because he's throwing to 2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys that are exceptionally talented. You can't double one guy.
He had those receivers last year, and he didn't do it. He had those receivers last year.
Okay. You're right. He's the best of all time. I agree with you.
I want you to give me who you think is, because you're not.
I just told you
Roger
Staubach was one of the greatest of all time in college. One of the greatest of all time in college.
Roger Staubach?
Yeah.
That's your answer.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I wanted to know.
I gave you an example.
People out there for Pub
Vince
Talk.
Young.
Please tell me.
Vince Young was
fine. Go ahead.
What's wrong with him? Matt Leinart.
No, I have no issue with Vince Young or Matt Leinart.
Okay.
But I'm saying my opinion from what this season was.
He had the single greatest single season. How about that?
But like I said, he has broken almost every single record for passing
because
this
you
season.
just said it. He did shit last year, and then they create a system that helps him have the tools. Who's to say that? I don't know. He's talented. I'm not taking anything away from Joe Burrow. He's a phenomenal football player. We will see. The story will be written about him. The story. He's going to be a Bayou Bengal, and now he's going to be a Cincinnati Bengal. We'll see.
Please no.
He's going to be.
I know. But this isn't coming from the Steeler fan in me. But this is
what?
This is coming from the fan of Joe Burrow in me. I'm sorry, Joe Burrow, that you're going to an organization that is one of the worst in the NFL.
I asked this question before. If you take the Red Rocket and you put him in another program, you take him and you say, let's just say you take him and you send him to New England and you let Josh Daniels work with him. What kind of a player is he then?
Who's the Red Rocket? Oh, Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton. What kind of a quarterback is he then?
I think he's a good quarterback.
He's much better than he is now, right?
And it goes back to Cincinnati.
I'm not taking anything away from Joe Burrow. Phenomenal season. Jiminy Christmas. You don't get any better than what he did. You don't dominate any more than what he did, but he can't benefit on his own. If you take away the 2 receivers and give him lesser guys, does he do what he did?
Well, I mean, if A.J. Green decides to stay, then he might have somebody to connect with. But, yeah, Cincinnati, the whole quarterback controversy that they have going on with Andy Dalton and then Ryan Finley there still. Do you draft a 3rd quarterback and then create more fucking controversy there?
Who knows, dude?
It continues down the line. And I don't want to see Joe Burrow go to an organization like that. I just don't.
It's almost tragic.
I'd rather see him go to Miami because at least they have some hope right now. They do. They have some hope because at least he's going to get a disciple of Belichick who seemed to know how to crack the code on Belichick. I'm just saying, to go to Cincinnati is just, when I see him hold up that jersey, because he is going to be the number 1 overall pick. After the season he just had, he's going to be the number 1 overall pick. I'm going to feel so sad for him, but I want him to succeed there. I want him to succeed because of the season he just had, being the most badass guy on the field, basically. Last night when he threw his last touchdown, he was pointing to his ring finger give me that ring right now.
I kind of like that.
That was great.
I kind of like that cockiness about him.
And then after the game, the press conference, as he's walking out, Coach O goes go easy on that cigar. He doesn't say cigar, he says cigar. When he says go easy on that cigar. And you get a video of Joe Burrow while his entire team is in the locker room dancing and using champagne and smoking cigars. Joe Burrow's off in his own little room smoking his cigar, just thinking about what happened. That's the type of guy that Joe is, and it was great to see that because Joe did that all season. He's cool Joe. And I'm starting to say, with the hat that he got last night, he's Big Dick Joe now. He just is. We have Big Dick Nick.
Smoking Joe.
But we have Big Dick Joe now. But
yeah,
college football is done.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll have some more news about transfer portal. It's always going to happen.
Jameis Winston was 26-1 as a starter.
And the only loss he had was to Oregon in the playoffs.
Michael Vick was 22-2. Vinny Testaverde, 21-3. Those are some impressive records, man. I'm going down through. Ken Dorsey of Miami was 35-2 as the starter at Miami.
That Miami team back in 2001, Jesus, that team was.
Yeah, I'm looking at these things. Roger Staubach had a 132.1 quarterback rating. 1963 Heisman Trophy winner. He played at the Naval Academy. Now, when you look at his career record,
but also it still stands to reason that Joe Burrow is the third quarterback in history now, in college football history.
Kellen Moore had a 50-3 career record, 145 total touchdowns, 169 QBR. He was seventh in the Heisman voting.
Coach, my final point, though, is that Joe Burrow, in the 150th year of college football, became the third player in college football history to win the Heisman and win a national championship right after it.
Cam Newton was only a starter for one season, 14-0 through 51 touchdowns. Quarterback rating, 182.
Yeah.
Marcus Mariota, 36-5 over 3 seasons. 134 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Just phenomenal.
I get your point, but we're let's go.
I'm just throwing it out there.
College football is done, but it's not gonna it gets spicier now because we're on to the NFL and we're on to the divisional round. And
I had a lot of fun watching these games.
My God, the second game we'll talk about. I have so much to talk about, but the first one was an awful game.
Niners completely dominant.
I'm gonna put it out there the Vikings got away with the win against New Orleans, like we said last week. They did put them down because the Saints did make mistakes.
Kind of almost stole a game
away
from a better team.
Exactly. And then they go into this game, and it's 7-7, and you're like, okay.
They're in it.
Yeah. And then at the end of the game, the Vikings have 147 total yards.
Yep.
And you go, what the fuck just happened?
How do you like that?
Hey, Richard Sherman, after he picked him off, he looked at him and he said, I like that. I like that. And I have
how much do you think Richard Sherman's veteran status and experience with a winning program is lifting up players?
It's good to have some cockiness. It's good to have that veteran on the other side.
Yeah, somebody who's been there, somebody who's been in that Super Bowl. I mean, he's been in 2 Super Bowls, won one, got
you
one
have
stolen.
some young guys on that defensive line that are such good pass rushers.
I'm sorry, but I don't want to like Bosa, but that son of a bitch is good.
DeForest Buckner, Anthony Zettel, Penn Stater. Sorry.
Yeah, Zettel. Where did he come from? Holy cow.
Yeah, exactly. DeForest, like I said, DeForest Buckner also. And then you have Quan Alexander, Fred Warner. You have guys on that team.
I'm telling you, Bosa is a difference maker.
Yes, exactly. And the 49ers showed it. They only allowed 7 first downs by the Vikings the whole game.
That's why I said they were so dominant. They were efficient on offense. And that's one thing, to be efficient on offense, keeping the chains moving and stuff like that. But they were putting points on the board. The fact that they were so dominant on defense just completely – that's how Minnesota flatlined.
And for the people who still to this day think that Garoppolo is not that impressive with the 49ers, their record without Garoppolo is 4-20, okay? Garoppolo on that team.
He sucks, and he does.
Garoppolo on that team makes the world go round for them. When you have a guy who is he
learned from the GOAT for how many years?
But not even just that.
How to manage a team, how to manage and not getting riled, not getting flustered. Just stay cool and calm.
And he's an FCS guy.
When you watch Jimmy Garoppolo play, he's got freaking ice water in his veins. That freaking cat's good, man.
I know he is.
And I like them both because I love Tom Brady. I love Tom Brady, but you know as well as I do, he learned a shit ton from Brady on how to manage an offense. You know damn well he did.
For the Vikings, though,
they're almost there, though.
They're almost there, but then their offensive coordinator.
Maybe that's what it is.
Got hired by the Vikings. Got hired by the Browns. And I looked at the Browns and I said, this guy only amassed 147 yards of total offense, and that's the guy that you want? That's the guy that you want to help out your team. I no disrespect to Stefanski, but, like, I'm saying that game was not your best offensive showing.
Right.
And to show in the playoffs that's the tape you're going to give to the Browns, then the Browns are like, give me that guy right now. Give me that guy. Like, come on now, Browns.
Right.
You're still making yourself look bad.
Yeah.
But
we're going to skip this next game. We need to move it down the list to the number 1 spot at the end.
Oh, at the last one?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then let's move the bottom one to the second one.
Exactly.
The other NFC game.
Exactly, because that was
Packers Seahawks.
Yeah.
This game, I'm not surprised with what happened.
You got to take care of your bread and your chickens.
Hey, it was smart with what he said, though.
Oh, that was.
Marshawn Lynch, he's one of my favorite players that I watched whenever he was with the Seahawks, of course. But the deal has come that the Seahawks are done and dusted. The Packers did win, and the Packers won by.
Hey, Aaron Rodgers played a great game.
Yeah, he did. He played in Lambeau.
He's so dynamic, just throwing the football, man.
I know, but
sling it.
They got to go to San Francisco now, and I really would not hold my breath if they have to go there, and Aaron Rodgers has to face that smothering defense of San Francisco.
We'll see.
I know, we will see, because there has been magic done before. There's not really much to say about this game from me, because the Seahawks should have lost it, and they did, and Russell Wilson had to do it all on his own again. He really had
to. They're freaking hampered by injuries. They're depleted. They were not a typical Seahawks team. They just weren't.
And then that spot at the end of the game, I don't want to say that was like a defining factor. But what the fuck was that? Like, that's not a first down for the Packers, and yet it was. I don't know. It's the human factor. What do I know?
How many times have we talked about that? You and I have ranted over that shit, and you've heard me bitch and complain that a human factor in the game is important because humans are playing the game. I don't like the whole electronic age of keeping that. You might as well take the officials off the field and put everything in a sensor then.
I know. But like I said, there wasn't too much to talk about this game because there wasn't that much exciting factor from
Aaron Rodgers played.
They're the number 2 seed. They're supposed to win this game,
right? And he played typical Aaron Rodgers stuff. Move the chains, make big plays, run, move the pocket, and then of course he's got a legendary arm.
He wears a different jersey than everyone on that field.
No, he doesn't wear a different one. He wears one fitted with a hand warmer built into the jersey.
No. If you go look at a picture of Aaron Rodgers' jersey, it's a Nike jersey, but it is not a uniform that is used by all the other players because the Nike uniforms that everyone uses, there's a triangle here in the middle that basically it has the holes down here, but up here it's solid. It's basically like leather, but his doesn't. His has holes all up and down. It's like it's a practice jersey that he wears. I've noticed from the pictures.
Maybe it's a breathability thing. Maybe he likes it a certain way, and the league agrees as long as it has the logo and it matches the others.
I guess so, but I just noticed that like his jersey does not look, because like other people's jerseys, they're tight as shit on them, and his does not look like it's tight at all.
Well, you know what? As long as it's within
I'm not trying to start a scandal or anything. No, I'm really not.
Yeah, I know. Jersey scandal? Oh, shit. Because his arm is legendary. I'm totally amazed by the fact that when he throws the ball, it's not like he can rifle it, but it's almost like he flicks it. You know what I mean? He's just flipping it around. It's just a crazy. That's right. You know who else does that? Is freaking Mahomes. My Mahomie.
Good segue.
Yeah, into
my
this.
Mahomes dog. We're gonna get into the third one.
Yeah.
The Chiefs versus Texans in
a
game that I sat
they
on
had
the
their
couch.
Spurs dug in, but they weren't dug in deep enough.
I know. They got drowned down into the sand, basically. But I sat here on the couch and I looked at the TV, and at the end of the half, I said, "What the hell is this game?" Because it was 24-0 with 10 minutes left in the second quarter. The Texans were up 24-0. due to special teams errors and also
there was
Houston scoring really fast as well.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's like you
you
said,
flick the switch.
Mahomes, there's no giving that guy. There really isn't.
Right.
Mahomes is and probably will be one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen coming up here very soon. He already has proven that in his first season starting last year. He's been in the league now 3 years, but last year, throwing 50 touchdowns in his first ever season starting, and now
he's special, man. He just makes things happen.
And he's also just a leader too.
Yeah, I think he's a natural. I think he's just a natural leader, and because of the success begets more success. And so, it's just you have so much confidence that he believes he can make just about any throw. Well, he can make,
and
all the
he can,
throws. And he can. I mean, it doesn't matter if he's shoveling, flipping, rifling. Doesn't matter.
And also, the Texans were getting really lucky early. I mean, when the Chiefs were down, the Chiefs were dropping balls, and I was like, "Come on, now that's not going to happen later."
Right, and I put that on one of my posts on Facebook. I was talking to my friends, like, "Hello, who did Kansas City actually show up to play?
I know,
what are they doing?"
They fell asleep at the
and
wheel.
then all of a sudden, I was like, "Okay, you can see what's going on here," and I was like, "The route is on. It's going to end up in a route."
And it continued.
Yeah.
51 points were scored after that.
Yep. They scored 41 unanswered, I believe.
41 unanswered. And all I could say was like, that's how dominant the Chiefs can be if they have the right team. But also Bill O'Brien is, I'm going to say, he's not that good of a coach to me.
It got kind of mismanaged, right? There was a couple of situations where they were fourth and inches.
He panicked.
And you could tell that he was not on the same page with his coordinator, and he's calling plays, and it's just like, what is going on here with them? It's like the situation was too big for them.
Complete meltdown, basically.
Yeah.
And at the end of the first quarter, you're thinking the Houston Texans are about to host a playoff game for the championship round.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the game, you're dunking your head in the toilet going, what the hell just happened? Like,
someone was giving a big swirly.
Yeah, I know.
What were you thinking, Bill? Dunking his head in.
and Bill O'Brien cusses, so he's like, son of a bitch, son of a
yeah.
But I don't understand how the Texans just easily get their ass clobbered every single day. But I want to point out one player in particular for the Texans, and that's Mr. Future Hall of Famer J.J. Watt that I watched on the game. People may give him all the credit in the world for being one of the toughest SOBs out there.
He is, though.
But I've watched a lot of football, and I have seen how it is played at every single level. And this is fucking high school shit when it comes to basically being a defensive end. That you never give up the outside to a quarterback.
Yeah, he never attacked the upfield shoulder of freaking Mahomes. He let Mahomes freaking squirrel his way outside. And J.J. Watt's not going to run down Patrick Mahomes. He let him escape outside rather than push upfield, attack the outside upfield shoulder, get Mahomes to step up and give your other guys a chance. Give him a chance. And to make his escape a lot more difficult. It just didn't happen. It happened over and over and over again. And now, the only thing I will say in J.J. Watt's defense is, he just came back from a pec tear 2 weeks before. He's not exactly 100%. But the fact remains, the technique he was using, I don't know, it's questionable at best for me. And I agree with you 100%. I think that he let down his defense by allowing an escape. You just can't run with him. As a defensive lineman, you're not running with Patrick Mahomes. You're just not.
And also I want to say, like, it's not what I truly believe, but if it does happen, I think the NFL is rigged. That if the Chiefs and Packers go to the Super Bowl, and if for the 100th year in the NFL and Super Bowl I was the Packers and Chiefs, I might have to feel some speculation a little bit. But I'm not.
And those son of a bitches are both in State Farm commercials together.
Exactly. It's like they're Mahomies. They're Mahomies.
Yeah.
All right, the last one.
Best one.
And then we got Hops. But, man.
Best one.
This game right here, the Titans versus
Tighten up, baby.
the Ravens. I'm sure everyone thought that the Ravens would go to the Super Bowl.
They were so dominating.
I'm sure that lots of people
They won
were
12 in a row.
Yes, they finished their best season in franchise history, 14-2.
Yep.
Set the NFL record for most rushing yards in a season as a team, over 3,000 yards rushing.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Lamar Jackson is going to be the MVP of the league. He's the best quarterback in the NFL, the best player. And what happens? They score 12 points
Brash
in the
and
divisional
confident,
round.
and Mike Vrabel and his Tennessee Titans put the clamps down.
When I watched this game, Mike
And
Vrabel,
Tannehill played his ass off.
when I watched this game, first on the Ravens. Number one, why do you open your mouth the week before about saying whoever we play, they're not going to have fun playing us? It's almost like, once again, it's bulletin board material.
Yeah.
No matter what you say, can be used against you in a court of law. So, number two, the Ravens are, I don't want to say they're a fraud, but I will say this. They have only been down by double digits ever in the season twice, and it was to the Browns and it was to the Titans just now. Right. Because what happened when the Ravens got down by double digits? They panicked. They didn't know how to come back from this type of deficit. They have only been, the largest deficit they had, other than the Cleveland game, was 7 points during the regular season, and they were able to come back from that. When Lamar Jackson had to start throwing the ball and Tennessee started basically making him throw him to the outsides and the sidelines, it became fair game for Tennessee. And it became very clear that Baltimore is not ready to come back from a huge deficit. They just are not. And forcing Lamar Jackson to run the ball as much times as he did, where was Mark Ingram?
I don't think he was 100% with that calf injury. I just don't think he was effective.
Okay,
because
then what
of the
about
calf
Gus
injury.
Edwards? What about Justice
I'm just
Hill?
saying. I'm just using.
But you just used Lamar Jackson. The man threw the ball 59 times.
Yep. Made some good throws,
times.
but it's just not enough. It's not enough.
And on top of that, like I said, he struggles in the passing game where in the regular season, he'll throw the ball 20 times and he'll do a fantastic
job.
And
he'll run 20 times.
But he'll only throw it 20 times. In this game, you make him throw it 59 times. That's why I'm saying the Ravens panicked. You made him.
Do you think that might have been a game plan for the Titans and Vrabel in saying we want him to throw? If we can limit his runs and force him to throw, we want him to beat us passing?
I absolutely do believe it, because the amount of time that the Ravens had the ball, like the 4th and 1s, to me, I was like, what the hell are these play calls? And the QB sneak by Lamar, that was dumb. I mean, that was so dumb where he panicked and tried to go. He tried to not sneak it up the middle. He redirected. It's like, you can't do that. Just fall forward. You're over 6 feet. Just fall forward. and that didn't happen. And it's a stop. Another one. He falls short of the line to gain.
So I had to go to a memorial service for a very, very good friend of mine who passed away last weekend on my birthday, and it really upset me.
Way to ruin the show, Coach.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. But on the way home, your mother and I were talking about the game, and she goes, "What do you think it's going to take for freaking the Tennessee to win?" And I felt like a prophet afterwards. I said that it would take one stop every quarter. You have to shut down Lamar Jackson every quarter, force a punt, and when you get the ball, turn it into something. Turn it into a significant field advantage by downing a punt inside the red zone, something like that. Put them inside the 5, or at the very least, get out with 3 points. Get out. Get a stop, get some points, or change the field position that would allow you to have an edge on Baltimore. And damn if they didn't do it in the first half. That turnover, interception, both of them resulted in touchdowns. And then later on, they had the stop on 4th down, ended up in a field goal. And then they got another stop, ended up in a touchdown. And that was it. That was the answers. And now I'm not saying that I was a prophet, but all reality, that's what they needed to do, was get stops and make a field advantage change or score at a minimum 3 points. And they did it. They did those things. And that's effective for any team.
And now I want to talk about the Titans.
Hot dog.
I am thinking the Titans are going to the Super Bowl.
I would like to think that they could beat Kansas City.
I do think that they could beat Kansas City because, once again, here's another defense that is not a good against the run. And once again, Tennessee, oh my God, their offensive line is unreal. You could say it's Derrick Henry, but that offensive line creating those huge holes, and then Derrick Henry, who wants to tackle that guy? Once again, it goes back to New England. New England being technically the best defense statistically did not want to tackle him. And now Baltimore, the team that whoever we play, they're not going to have fun. Earl Thomas, he turned your ass into a lead blocker. He turned you around. He stiff-armed you into a lead blocker.
And he didn't do it just any old way. He did it with one arm.
And then he stared you down as you walked away.
And then he threw the ball on the ground towards him. I love that. I thought that was so good.
And then the amount of memes that, Mark Ingram was there in the game, and then, the picture of him standing next to Mark Ingram.
And he's just little.
And it's
little tiny
that is
guy.
who Derrick Henry is. And now people are starting to say, man, who's this Derrick Henry? Well, people forget that he was a backup behind DeMarco Murray for 2 years before Mike Vrabel came in last year.
Dion Lewis from the Patriots got a big contract with the Titans. Dion Lewis is a great third down guy.
But then Mike Vrabel was like, I'm a big dude. You're a big dude. Let's make this happen.
Let's find out how we can get this cat
going. And it
going.
has worked. And in the past 8 games,
I looked up his rushing.
Derrick Henry has over 1,000 yards rushing.
I looked up his stats.
Derrick Henry is a mutant. People.
Yeah, I looked it up, and it was just.
Derrick Henry is on another level, and that's why I'm saying, even with Ryan Tannehill too, the man is still he has 160 passing yards. He has 160 passing yards in 2 games.
Just very, very efficient though.
But he threw 2 touchdown passes yesterday.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry threw a touchdown pass on Saturday.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, who's to say that the Titans can't go to the Super Bowl with this attack on offense, and Mike Vrabel basically turning this defense into a smart tactical defense that knows its opponents very well and knows its tendencies and knows its offense. Yeah. And I definitely think that the Titans could go to the playoffs because scoring 28 points on a team that only lost twice during the reason.
1,275 yards in 8 games. Yeah.
And that man did not get first team All-Pro. Christian McCaffrey did. But that's besides the point. But
there was a great freaking NFL meme when they played in England. There are only 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and Derrick Henry torching the Jaguars. But his season stats are fucking ridiculous. I can't get over it. I'm impressed by him. There's just something natural about the way he runs with power, and it's almost a beauty thing. All right, so here is his last 3 games. Last 3 games. So they had the wild card playoff against Houston, 232 rushes, 211 yards. Played against New England, 34 carries, 182. And then against Baltimore, 30 carries, 195 yards. That is a hell of a playoff freaking stat total.
That's chump change.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Walter Payton never did that. Barry Sanders never did. Emmitt Smith never did. Eric Dickerson never did.
Yeah, he's rushed for almost 580 yards in 3 games.
In 3 playoff games.
Crazy.
In 2 playoff games, excuse me. But yes, I know.
And the last time against Kansas City, he rushed 23 times for 188 yards, 8.2 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. So all I can say is, Kansas City better tighten.
I know they're going to play him twice.
They're going to tighten their bootstraps.
But
and that's
still,
really hard to do. That's really hard to do is beat a team twice in the same season.
But still, I think that this is a different Tennessee team than what you saw them before when they played Kansas City.
Yeah,
and how they
playing
can
with fire, man.
If they
I like
could
it.
stop, I don't want to say Mahomes and Lamar are on the same level, but if you could stop Lamar this season, I think you can stop Mahomes.
Is it a Ryan Tannehill, Taylor Lewan offensive-led team with Derrick Henry as a co-host, or is it a Mike Vrabel mentality? Mike Vrabel, I'm the head coach. I'm the fiery bastard. I'm 6'4", 260. I am the man to play this.
I definitely think it's Mike Vrabel. Because
I think so too. I think you're right. I'm becoming a Titans fan more and more. I just like what they do, man. I like that. I like that former player. I learned from the master. I played for the master, and now I'm being able to use. He's a Jedi. You know what I mean? He's a Jedi. He learned from Yoda.
Luke.
I am your father. Right? So, he's a Jedi. He's not a Jedi master. That's freaking Belichick's a Jedi master.
Yeah,
he's like Yoda. Or Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, I know. He's got the blue lightsaber. So, Chiefs versus Titans. Packers versus 49ers for the championship round.
I'm liking 49ers.
Titans.
And I'm liking Titans. I want the Titans. Patrick Mahomes. The thing is, I'm not a huge fan of Kelsey. He's a great tight end, but god damn, stop celebrating until you do something really. He makes great catches. He does a lot of stuff, and he's a huge factor in the game. But stop celebrating. Act like you've been there.
I mean, it's the same way with a lot of players. He's no different. So, hops of the week now. Let's finish this thing off. I got two.
I'll
start us off.
You do one. I'll do one.
Okay. So, apparently there is a bill being brought to, I think I forget the article, if it's Virginia or Congress, that is proposing to make cell phones only available to people over 21.
Yes, your mother said something about that. I think it's going to be brought before a state. Some senator is bringing it before his state.
I don't know about that because, I get why you're trying to do it. You're trying to turn people into a different mind and say learn like I did. Get a damn typewriter and type something up. But no,
Smith Corona.
You're starting to write Egyptian scriptures on the wall and everything. No,
that was hieroglyphics, by the way.
I haven't had any beer either.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But I also don't want cell phones to go away because for younger kids, because parents do need to get in contact with their kids for emergencies.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's an idiotic bill.
And so they're doing it for the bad reasons instead of the good reasons of why they have
use your powers for good instead of evil.
Yeah, it's with great power comes great responsibility. Didn't Peter Parker's uncle teach you nothing? And then there was this ad that was played the other day. So Burger King has this ad for the Impossible Burger.
I saw this too.
Which is a burger that is made out of plants.
The Million Moms.
God, stop stealing it.
I don't know why I did. I don't know why. I'm not stealing your thunder, but I remember.
Apparently, in the video, and I have seen the video.
Saw a video.
This black guy screams, "Damn, that's good!" in the video.
He goes, "Damn, that's good!"
And he tries to stop himself. It's not scripted or anything, but apparently there's this group out there called 1 Million Moms.
Yeah,
and they are upset that in a Burger King ad that this man said "damn" in the ad.
And they want it blocked.
And they want it banned.
They petitioned freaking Burger King's corporate office to change it. They said that freaking Burger King is a family restaurant or some shit.
And all I could say to that is
really?
It's a burger that's made out of plants. None of your kids are going to want to eat that shit at that young of an age.
Right.
And number two, it's damn. It is a word that doesn't even ring off the tongue as somebody that looks at you and go, "What did you just say?" It's it's not even a word. It's not a word. It's not. It's not. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's not.
Totally.
It's like ass.
I read it. It almost made me angry.
It's like someone saying ass. It's like
Right.
okay, it's my ass. So who cares? Or it's like
It's supposed to smell bad. It's
this
my
is
ass.
a damn good burger. Oh, is it really? Instead of saying, what did you just say? It's like a Christmas story. It's like, only I didn't say fudge. Or it's like Guardians of the Galaxy. Welcome to the freaking Guardians of the Galaxy. Only he didn't use freaking. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah,
censorship
ridiculous,
is good for young
ridiculous.
kids.
You know,
but like you're telling me that you don't swear like a sailor when your kids are not around. You're telling me that you're a gentle giant
I
who's
am.
a
You know
nun.
me. You remember me as a when I.
No, but like, come on, moms. Like, this is stupid. You're not gonna win this battle too. You're just not gonna win this battle here.
Yeah.
And guess what? That black guy's gonna say, "Damn, this is good." Every single time it comes on.
Yeah.
So those are my two though. Those
Yeah.
were really great. They
Yeah,
really
that
were.
million moms thing just I was almost angry reading the article. I don't know how I got it, but that was it. All right, so my once again, I'm into my odd news. And so I find this article. There's this guy, this 40-year-old Kansas guy. He has asked a judge to grant him trial by combat. I shit you not. He has petitioned the judge in a court. He has been fighting his
Get
wife.
a flight ticket there. To see
I know.
this.
I want to see. I want to see it on live TV. You know, pay per view. You know, watch
Yes.
the bloodshed. He is
HBO.
he is asked the judge that his wife and her attorney have financially ruined him. That he's tried to have visitation rights and there's some property tax issues. There's some crazy shit like that. And he's like, you need to grant me trial by combat. He's like, I'm telling you that this law has not been has not explicitly been banned or restricted in the United States. And it was last used, he used some crazy thing. It was last used in Britain in 1818 or some crazy like that. And he basically said, I want to be able to fight her and her attorney, and I want to do it with freaking katanas. And if I win, I don't have to pay the fines and stuff like that.
Oh my god!
And so the
It's
judge,
like Kill Bill, up
right.
in here, man.
Yeah, it's like this psycho Kill Bill thing. Yeah, and the judge has not ruled on this, but it's not likely that he's going to be granted trial by
Come
combat.
on, Judge, have a little fun, man.
Yeah, right. And the judge is
Fuck your
basically
license,
said,
fuck your law degree, have some fun, katanas and swords.
yeah, but
Like Jack Sparrow up in here.
and his
Come
whole
on.
argument, and it stood up against the law that said that it had not been explicitly banned or restricted in the United States. And he argued this stuff in front of the court case. And of course, his wife and her attorney are calling him a lunatic, and
No, he just wants to kill you.
Right,
That's
he
all.
just wants to
and he
kill
just
you.
wants trial by combat. It's
right.
like Game of Thrones,
How
man.
cool would that be? Trial by combat.
I know. Slices her head off just
Oh
quickly.
my God,
Done
how
and
ba-
painless.
how ugly would
it's like
that be?
Mortal Kombat.
So I thought that was
was awesome.
hilarious.
That's a
yeah.
good
And the
one.
second one was, you know how your mother and I like forensic files. Well, this was the case, a cold case for 44 years. A 14-year-old girl was on her way home from a friend's house.
Open that.
Huh?
How do you reopen?
I'm going to tell you.
it?
I'm
just
going to tell you how.
say, how do you?
She had been raped and strangled by a rubber hose, right? On her way home from a friend's house. And the case was cold. They found her the next day, but they had no clues as to what's
No
going on.
evidence, no fingerprints, nothing, I'm
nothing
assuming.
at the time. They had DNA, but in 1976,
Technology
the
is not that
technology
good.
wasn't there. They just didn't have DNA capability, and so the case was never solved. And then later, just recently, they used DNA from a previous crime that was matched to a relative who had family members had uploaded their genealogy and their pedigree to a genealogy site, and it turns out that their traits, their DNA, was linked to this crime, and it turns out that one of her relatives, like a cousin or an uncle, was the actual murderer. But they can't try him. They can't get him. He'll never appear in court. Guess why?
He's dead?
He's dead, but you know why?
He was killed.
He was committing another murder. They think he was a serial killer. He was committing another murder in 1981, and he was killing another guy. He accidentally stabbed himself and bled to death.
Oh, my God.
He fucking bled to death. And they used that information and kept his freaking DNA, and they compared it, and he's the fucking murderer. 44-year-old case solved. Killed by a fucking cousin. How crazy is that?
This guy can kill a 14-year-old girl because, she can't fight back. She can't do anything.
Yeah,
But when he wants to get into the bigger competition, he stabs himself.
He killed another man, and in the process of killing that other guy, he suffered a knife wound that caused him to lose blood, and he ended up dying later on.
Yeah, because you can't go to the hospital and say, yeah, I got stabbed. Can I get some help?
He ended up dying, and they collected DNA evidence, and then this genealogy thing from family members linked him to this previous crime, and he killed a family member who was only 14 years old. He fucking raped and strangled her. How crazy is that? And that's my other hops of the week. I don't mean to end on a crazy story like that, but that was cold case. It lasted 44 years. From 1976 until now. 44 years.
I don't want to sound different or anything, but honestly, if I was the parent of that girl, I would have rather have not known who it was then if it was my cousin. If it was a cousin.
And then you find out it's a relative. I don't care if it's a cousin or whatever, but you know what I mean? To find out that it's some family relative. Yeah,
yes.
Blood relative, yeah. And then they showed this creepy picture of the dude, and I was just like, you know what? Good for him. Good that he freaking...
man.
Yeah, good that he freaking killed himself. He literally killed himself.
Suicide by dumbassery.
By killing it. And they're not sure right now how many other murders he may have been linked to, but definitely 2 in front of him. That's crazy.
Well,
I hope that shows up because it's a 2020 thing that they just did. They just found it out in January. This month they found it out.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
Well, we had some good hops there. That was really funny.
And you know what? Next month in February, the new Forensic Files is coming out. Forensic Files 2 is coming out. All new cases.
Gotcha. Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Well, I'm always a fan of Forensic Files. Their cases are some of the craziest things that, technology today have found some of the craziest murders out there.
Yep.
That to this day,
I hope they do something like this. I hope they do one like
core.
that, or actually do this case.
So, thank you, Coach. But man, we went really long on this one, but we had a lot to talk about. But,
we did.
Yeah, we went a lot longer on this one, but that's okay. But thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, man.
That's Coach. This is CJ. And
hey, you know what I want? Before you do that, I want to say thank you to Tom Byer for freaking throwing questions out to us.
Yes.
Tom Byer has been hitting us up on freaking text and freaking hitting our email and Facebook. Keep them coming, Tom. Appreciate your help. We need to get more people involved. I wish Biff would get back
boss.
I wish Biff would get back with us. The boss, Clarence. Hopefully he'll start adding his 2 cents in.
Yeah, absolutely. We always love bringing people on the show.
One last thing before we let you guys go. 1917 is going to be a topic of conversation. Tommy Byer has seen it. Another friend has seen it. I've talked to students at school who've seen it, said it's absolutely fantastic. CJ and his mother and I are going to go check it out. And Patrick, I think we're going to go check it out this coming Sunday. So keep us posted, and we will keep you posted about 1917. We're all looking forward to that movie.
Yeah, well, that is Coach. This is CJ, and I'm going to go piss some moms off with some damn good burgers. Peace out. Love you guys.